doing? It's Valerie here, and I garden in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains in Zone 6B. Today I'm going to just be getting some more plants planted. I'm not sure exactly what all I'll get done, but I'm thinking I'm going to get the rest of my Snapdragons in, and hopefully a few other things. It's been a few days since I've been out here because it's just been way too hot. It's been in the mid-90s, and that's just way too hot to be out here working, and it's been very humid. But today we're getting a little bit of relief from the super hot temperatures in the sun, so I decided to come out here and get as much work done as I can before I get too warm. Kind of wanted to show off this area again. I know I keep showing it, but it's looking so beautiful. It's full of flowers. It smells so good over here. Showing it on camera doesn't do it justice, but it's just looking so pretty. I'm here in my slope garden where I'll be working today, and the reason I call it the slope garden is because it's literally on a big old slope. I have this deer fencing. It's the vinyl deer fencing that's up around this garden, and it's considered temporary. I mean, I'll use it for as long as I can, but it's in no means considered permanent. But it is also very hard to see, and we had a piece of it when we came up here the other day that was torn, but none of my plants were bothered, so we're thinking that maybe a deer got its antlers stuck in it. So what I'm going to do is, I bought this streamer, bunting, whatever you want to call it, from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to put it around the top edge of the fence at the top there where they come out of the woods. I don't have enough here to cover the whole garden, but on the package it doesn't say how many feet it is, so I just bought several, and I'm going to put up as much as I can. I'm going to try to do this first. However, it might be too tall for me, and if it's too tall, then I will just wait until Dalton gets home and he can do it. But I am going to go up there and attempt to get this up first, and then I'm going to finish planting the Snapdragons. I have 2 more trays left and a few more just odd and end plants that are going in this garden that I'm going to try to get all of them planted today, but at the very least I want to get the Snapdragons done. So let me try to go get this bunting on. I guess you'd call it bunting, streamer, I don't know. I'm going to go put this on and go from there. Well, if I can get it to go on, I might be too short.
Start with the soil, dark and warm. Turn it over, come early morn. Add a little compost, mix it slow. The richest things come from below. Plan your rows and map your lines. Rain barrel full, sun's gonna shine. Dig the furrows, pull the weeds. Praise the earth while you plant your seeds. Dig down deep, let the roots take hold.
So I have a tray of random things that are all vines. Let me sit down here. Well, I'm going to plant them on the end of this tomato trellis right now that doesn't have anything on them. And I'm going to try my best to keep them adhered to the trellis, but they're vines, so who knows how out of control they'll get. But I'll just tell you what I'm planting as I'm planting them. The first thing I'm going to be planting are these long green improved cucumbers, because they are the biggest, most out of control thing I have, and they really need planted for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and get these planted. I have 2 plants, and I am going to put more spacing between these and what I did the tomatoes. And like always, I'm going to dig my hole and then backfill it with compost when I plant. There's a couple of holes here that have already had the auger aug them out. I don't even know if aug's a word, but they've been drilled out with the auger because we thought we had a few more tomatoes than what we did. So I'm going to utilize those. Well, not all of them. They're too close together, but at least my first one will go in a hole that's already dug. Maybe my second one. There are 2 plants in this, but I'm just going to leave both plants. Oh, these things will probably be so glad to be in the ground. Let's see, long green improved. And I have my little Velcros. I'm going to go ahead and Velcro them up. Keep them up off the ground as much as possible. Hopefully I can stay on top of it and keep them Velcroed up as they grow. But that might not happen. At least they get to start out all nice and neat. Yeah, pretty soon the package begins to... The next thing I'm planting is the alpha bait cucumber, and I also have 2 of these. They are not quite tall enough yet to Velcro up, so I will have to come back and do that when they're a little taller. I found a volunteer tomato, and I am going to go ahead and plant this. But I will probably plant it on the other side, so I'm going to stick it in my tray for now. I'm going to transplant it. I moved it from where I found it growing. That's probably from the compost that I used in this area whenever they were flower beds, because I did have a volunteer tomato come up last year from my compost. And it was a really yummy red one, so I'm going to just transplant that one. The next thing I'm planting is the Rich Sweetness melon. Rich Sweetness 132, I think. Rich Sweetness, and then a combination of the numbers 1, 2, and 3. I don't know which order. Oh, that sun's coming out and it's getting real hot. I wish it'd go back behind the clouds again. Once again, this is not tall enough to connect to my trellising yet. The next thing I have here is my Kajari melons. Let's go down here. I'm gonna have to trample on some glads. I don't think I'll ever have all the glads out of this area. I'm just going to let them grow unless they get in the way. I've got 2 of these Kajari melons. We'll plant here. So the last thing I have is the Kiku chrysanthemum melon, and I've got 2, so One will go on this end, and then one will go over on the back row. I think I hear thunder. So the one I'm planting on this back row, I don't know if you can see me down here, but the one I'm planting on this back row is also a Kiku chrysanthemum melon. And the reason I'm saying this specifically with the name is because I don't have a tag for it. And later I might wonder what I planted here, which I should be able to tell by the fruit, but this is just a record for me to know that this one without a tag on the back is a Kiku chrysanthemum melon. One last thing to do before I go inside is to plant that tomato volunteer that I just found. I have this spot right here where I had a brandy wine from Croatia. It's on my second post from the top. I'm going to put this volunteer here. And another reason I'm being very specific is because this one doesn't have a tag either, and I might forget. It's very wilty. It did not like being dug up, but it should recover. My compost is moist. The ground that I'm putting it into is moist. And then I'm going to put that straw around it to keep the soil moist, and that's done. I was able to get 3 trays worth of plants emptied out today, and the rest of those Snapdragons have really been getting to me for some reason, because I guess I could have planted them months ago and they're just now getting planted, and it's really been like causing me stress. Which honestly, I've got a lot of plants still to plant, and they're all causing me stress because I am so behind what I usually am. And I don't want to be stressed out about gardening. It's a love of mine, but also I don't want these plants that I spent so much time on getting started to die. And some of them are starting to get pretty yellow because they've been in their containers too long. I'm just going to work my way through them as best I can. What else can you do? Try not to get too upset about it if they don't make it. All of my veggies, I think, are in the ground besides a few watermelons that I still have, but they are bigger watermelons, so they're not like the watermelon or the melons that I planted on my trellis just now are all smaller fruit. So I've got a different place that I'm going to put the bigger watermelons. Oh yeah, I don't have my ginger planted yet, but I've got a plan for that, so I'll get it planted eventually. I'm kind of just rambling. I'm glad I was able to get most of my plants planted while the sun was still behind the clouds, but it's starting to come out and it's making it very warm. We are supposed to get rain tonight, and there are clouds all around me, even whenever the sun peeks through. There are dark gray clouds all around me. So I hope we do get some rain to water in all these plants I just planted, even though the ground that I put them into had moisture in it still from the last rain, and because it's got hay on top of it. It would just be nice if it would come rain and water all these in for me. I'm going to gather up all my stuff and call it a day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you on the next one. Bye.